The Chinese Raptor Train botnet ended out seizing control of hundreds of thousands of routers that had not gotten software updates lately. And they used it to launch attacks across the internet, which means it's probably time to buy a new router. So, I'm here with Ryan from MVD and Miri Tech, and depending on what you're looking for, looks like we do have one new router here we can talk about.
One exact new router. So new that it's just launched, right? Look, security is a big thing. So when we were developing this router, that is, in this form factor, geared wholly for broadcast and live streamers, applicable in many other scenarios for people to use backup corporate networks, instant failover, food trucks, the whole gamut, right?
Yeah, this is a rugged piece of professional equipment.
Correct.
This is aluminum, right?
This is aluminum. But when we were designing this from the very first day, it was like, okay, the hardware is one thing. What software is running it? And that was important to us. And that's why we made the decision with Speedify, not just because of the technological differences that exist in bonding, the advantages that Speedify has over others, but inherently it's about data security. So you're going to have this as a VPN bonding router. That is by nature of what it is. It will fully encrypt the traffic across the internet, but it's also working with a company based out of Philadelphia, right? So when we talk about those things, that's really important to a large number of people, especially as we experience more and more of these threats. Miri is working with as a U.S. company out of Reading, Pennsylvania, and working with Speedify out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
And it's got a built-in VPN. Speedify is a VPN, AES 256-bit encryption, all hardware accelerated on this thing, so it really doesn't hurt your performance.
No, not at all. But you have the safety net, if you will, to fall back on the fact that, my traffic is being encrypted. I don't have to worry about the sites that I'm going to. I know that when it leaves the router to where it gets to the servers, that's handled for me.
Talking about stuff you can trust. It has multiple internet connections, right? I mean,
it
these
isn't just
four
VPN.
antennas are all 5G, right? There's 5G, there's 4G, there's Wi-Fi. So, you can have your main internet, completely fail, the cable gets pulled out, and it'll just instantly switch over, right?
It instantly kind of like absorbs what's happening within and is actively working, sniffing at what data connections to use. When we say failover rate, Speedify is instantly detecting it, and as fast as 300 milliseconds, it's making changes to the network to absorb either a connection added or a connection lost, and that is the difference between staying live or not staying live in a lot of instances.
Yeah.
You're right. The robustness of the connections, the data connections into this unit is as equally important as the software that is managing the bonding and the VPN part of that too.
And what if power fails?
Well, we have battery backup, right? So,
say battery monster.
That's a huge battery. They do make smaller batteries than that. Alex, he's like, go big or go home. That's kind of the thing, right? So these are NPF batteries. They're readily available across, you can pick them up just about anywhere. And if you're in the live stream broadcast type thing, you have these batteries. They're laying around. They're used in lights and they're used in all kinds of other stuff. So they're readily available. They're relatively inexpensive to purchase, and you can get them same or next day on Amazon.
They're hot swappable.
They're hot swappable.
So this battery gets low, you can just snap another one here and then take this one off.
Yeah.
Put it on the charger.
Or maybe it's just sitting, somewhere where you have two batteries on it, and when the power drops out, you're not going to skip a beat. The batteries will pick it right back up.
Yeah, I was really trying to break it, pulling the plug and putting it back in and yanking out batteries. And as long as there was one thing connected, it just kept on trucking. It was really impressive.
Yeah, because look, when you're in the field and you're doing these type of things, somebody trips over a wire, somebody flips a switch, a generator goes out on set. Those things all happen. The last thing you want is to drop the internet, because typically that takes a minute or more to get ramped back up. That doesn't skip a beat.
Yeah. I've been playing a lot with Starlink. In fact, we've got 2 Starlinks on the roof here. We ran the cables down the front. The landlord said nothing. And it's really cool, right? So you can plug both in and it bonds them. But what we discovered, every Starlink in the world changes from one satellite to the next satellite at the same time.
Really?
The exact same time. Everyone in the whole world, they all switch at the same time. They have their clocks synchronized. So it's not like, well, when this one's switching satellites, I'll use the other one. And when it switches satellites, I'll use this one. They each switch at the same time, which is maddening.
Wow.
So you have this fraction of a second where every Starlink in the world stops working. And then it's every 15 seconds. So that's where I found it's amazing to just have, one 5G.
To fill the gap.
To fill the gap.
Right.
And it only uses the 5G for,
a fraction of a second.
A fraction of a second every 15 seconds. And the end result is a completely smooth experience. Even with these satellite dishes that come and go. And I didn't even use that. I don't even use much 5G data. It's just for those little moments when the Starlink goes out.
Yeah.
It's really slick.
So
it's rock solid
is
stuff.
about the vast amount of connections you have, right? When something drops, what's ready to pick back up on it? And I wasn't familiar with Starlinks dropping at the exact same time. You would think that as it lost on one satellite, that would go but maybe the other Starlink was at like peak optimal performance, but no, if they're all making the switch
every 15 seconds,
you've got to have another data source then to fill that gap.
You really do. And it doesn't have to be much. I mean, honestly, a 3G
could probably handle what that buffer is.
And an extra 2 megabits around for when the Starlinks are acting badly would keep you online.
But I'll say this, 4G works fantastic. And the reason why is because of saturation of the 5G. As more and more of every device went on to 5G, and this was also seen in the transition from 3G to 4G. So 4G, really great speeds, right? People who had like early smartphones, we're talking about like the Motorola Q and the Blackberries.
They had the whole tower to themselves.
Correct. Right? They were like, whoa, 4G. I can actually watch a movie while in transit. And now what we're seeing is everything is a 5G device. The reason why we purposely chose to do one 4G, one 5G was because the 4G networks are less saturated.
Yeah, I've seen third-party reports that say right now 4G is faster than 5G.
When you account for the saturation.
So many people are on 5G right now.
Yes.
And their phones aren't using the 4G, so the 4G in a lot of places is faster.
And so when you get to a venue and you want to live stream something, and every parent is out there streaming videos of their kid, FaceTiming with their grandparents, they're all on the 5G side. If you were on the 4G, it's kind of like your own little private gateway to the internet, and nobody else is on it because they aren't able to just force their phone into 4G mode. It chooses the best thing possible. And that's not always based on data throughput. The network is saying, no. You have the best signal strength on the 5G. Doesn't matter if you're only getting, 1 megabit. It will never push itself off to the 4G.
That's tough.
It is tough, which is why we just did it with one 4G, one 5G, and that'll only become continuously more prevalent. We don't see 4G being like obsolete anytime remotely soon. We'll see what comes out with the next greatest thing, but the breadth of different connections, so 4G, 5G, Starlink, and whatever comes next, having the ability to connect to that with inside one unit.
They've been pretty regular that the new Gs come out on the 1 year, right? And, right? So 5G came out in 2021, 4G came out in 2011, 3G came out in 2001.
So we're looking at 2031.
So I think 2031 we're going to see 6G appear.
Okay.
I don't know what's in it. I'm starting to see companies talk about the future of 6G. I think somebody's working very hard on it. But one thing we didn't talk about is the screen, right?
Yeah, so,
it's a touch screen on the front of this.
With all of the different stuff that this does, it's just nice to not have to log into a web UI from time to time. And so we've put this really cool little touch screen on here to just view information about SIMs, your IP addresses. But let's say you're at a trade show and you're working a trade show booth with me. I don't want you to give you my password for the router. So I just pull up the QR code on the front of the screen and I let you scan it with your phone.
Nice. You just scan
it automatically connects. Yeah, or somebody says, hey, could I borrow, you're having them fill out a web contact form, right? But they're in the trade show, not great internet. It's like, hey, just connect to our booth real quick. And when they walk away, it disconnects from them.
Nice. That's a really nice touch.
Yeah, it's just like the little feature, because I do, when I'm running productions, I want to see my metrics and I want to glance over and I just want to see that things are healthy. And so that screen gives you the ability to be able to do that.
That's awesome. This is a really nice device.
And it feels good.
This is a well-made, solid,
it is a
aluminum
solid device. Other devices that existed in the world, companies have actually added weights to it, because when you're buying a premium device, you want it to feel like a premium product. We ended up putting there's a lot of really great components in here, the thermal management system, the Wi-Fi radios, the cellular SIMs, and the case itself. This is a really well constructed box, but this weight and this heftiness is because it is quality. We didn't have to add weights to it to make it feel like a nicer unit than what it is. It's the reason why it's $16.95. Those type of things factor into all of our.
This is a piece of professional gear, right?
Absolutely. It's geared for professionals, and it's built for professionals too. They demand a lot in production and live stream and broadcast. They are not always easy on the gear, and they're constantly traveling with it. So we needed to build something that was going to stand up. It is not IP rated. It's not meant for that, but the inherentness of throwing it into a case. Yeah.
Holes here. You can't put this thing in seawater.
No. We've actually already been asked by several companies. Well, actually, one of them's an aquarium, okay? They go out and they monitor whales. And they're like, can we put it on the boat? Sure, if it's inside anywhere else on the boat with electronics, it's not going to be a problem. But they're like, okay, but could we put it in a rugged case? Absolutely. It could sit inside of it. Can we close the lid of the rugged case? And then in case any water got... And then we're talking about thermal management and some other things that are, going on. But by far and large, this thing is going to be geared and ready for 99% of the use cases for what they need it for.
All right, so where can I find out more or order one?
You can get all of the information both on Speedify's website under the router link, or you can visit Miri.tech. There's a full site there to make your purchase, but it's also available at a large number of your favorite resellers as well. And look for content from your favorite influencer or person who just reviews these products. They're going to have links available on their social channels as they're talking about this product as well.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
If you want to see more technical discussions like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button.